Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Bagger Don at Stock Market Caddy, and we got ourselves some action here today. It is November 13th, approaching 10 a.m. We're going to do something a little different for those that want to watch. We're going to trade mechanically, one NQ, and we're going to do it with some specific rules, and we're going to see how we do in full view. We'll be back in a moment or two, and I'll explain. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We have a setup here for trading counter trends, counter trends. And so we're going to do this mechanically, and we're going to be with you for maybe an hour or two. We'll see how we do. That's the plan. Pretty fast market to attempt this today, but we're going to stay with it. What we're doing is this is still swing machine. We have the NQ. We have it on a 200 tick, 300 tick, 5, 7, 11. That's 1100. Maybe I should widen that out a little bit, maybe. Can I do that? Let's see if I can do that without screwing everything up. Yep, 1100 tick. And we're not trading it in the trend, although the trend is doing pretty well. And this kind of setup can tell you kind of what you want to know if you look at the amount of money that, the 3 to 500 tick is the sweet spot. So when we see the sweet spot of the market getting into panic, we're going to do what? We're going to buy it. It's going to be hard to do. And when we see the sweet spot of the market getting into euphoria, we're going to sell it. We're going to go against the grain is the plan. We're going to counter trend. And we're not going to stick around very long. We're going to just try to scalp a little, pull it out, and then we wait. We wait for the next bus. That's the plan. Any questions, let me know. We're doing it mechanically, so I got to keep a little bit more focused than normal. And now, if this wasn't tick, we could actually probably program this, but in the meantime, I'll do it mechanically. That is, I'm going to do it with my mouse. I'll keep you posted. Now, when it's in the middle, when it's between the two field posts, right? This is the field post here, the sell side. I should really put a little marker up there. I'm going to write it in. So let me do that. And pretty fast market, right? A lot of give and take. So that's going to hopefully serve us better. So let me write this in here. So this is going to be, let's see if we can see this. This is the buy side, buy zone. Yeah, that looks good. And then over here is going to be the sell zone, and we'll just write it in there for now. That makes sense. Okay, so we're easing into it, and we'll kind of wait here. We're going to be picky. Market's really, really fast and very, really oscillating, and as well, and trending to the downside. These numbers here happen to be prime numbers: 200, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. The first, 7 or 8 prime numbers. Then we just got a tick value. Tick value in this case is transactions. And you can kind of tell, we don't usually track the money, but they're all trading exactly the same thing. And what interval is winning out right now? It's this 300 tick, this 300, because we can tell just by the money, that it's carrying the day. So we're getting close as we approach. I gotta stay paying attention here. I'll try to answer your questions. So I gotta be ready. I want to buy this if I can. Want it to get down in there. Come on. Sell her some more. And want it in there. Come on. Gotta wait. I don't want to sell it down here. Come on. Get in there. amazing? Look at it. Just doesn't want to. Bingo. Okay, we're buying it. Now, we may not get to the other side, right? We may not. I don't want you to think that we're going to get there. We may not get there. If we can just come back a little bit, just toward the mean, um, we'll make a few shekels. We'll see. Pretty fast market, huh? Okay, we just took it, right? We got to be greedy. Don't like using the words greed and fear, but when we're counter trend trading, you're not sticking around for 3,000. We're gonna hit and we're gonna get out of the way. Now, what I don't know, is she gonna come back down into here? I don't know. If she does, I'm gonna want to buy it. If she goes up into here, I want to sell it. If she stays in the middle, I want to sit on my hands. Now we traded a little this last night very comfortably. This is a really really fast market, and we're doing okay. We did the good 1,582. We've had two trades, both winning trades. When you're counter trend trading, the win loss ratio will be high. It will be high. Profit factors should be good too. Profits should be good, but they're going to be smaller. And you really do need to be nimble, and decisive and disciplined and and patient as well. Let me put it this way: patient for the setup, rather impatient to take the profit, right? So we'll let them argue it out here, and we'll sit pat. Now we don't usually show this view, this kind of real active trading, because I think on balance, retail traders will do better learning to trade the trend than trying to counter trend all the time. But it does have its place. So we'll see. So you can use Swing Machine, and you can use it in other fashions too. Now we have something specific in mind that we're working on. I'm not going to share that now, but that we want to potentially incorporate into the radar. Okay, I just faded that, shorted it We'll see if we get away with it. I was a little late getting it in there. Let's see how we do. This is always this is different than going after the trend. So we're not watching the trend over here, right? Which is hard to do because we're spend days and days watching trends. Here we're just reacting. So we'll see. Okay, so we just I closed it. I took a hit on that. We got into the panic, reversed the trade. We'll take it back the other way. So we'll see. It's going to be more active, and we're going to try to play between the two field posts. I think if you're doing this, if you're a counter trader and you want to do it, um, if you make, you know, 10, 15 trades in a day, which would be quite a bit, I think you will do better. I don't care what it is you're trading. If, 70 to 80% of them, let's say you trade 10 times, 7 to 8 of them, you take the longs and you don't take the shorts. It's not a fair fight on the short side. It just isn't on just about anything and everything. And but we're gonna play. We're gonna be buying in here no matter where we are, and we're gonna be selling in here. When I say no matter where we are, I may, as we just were, I may be down several $100s, and if I wind up in the buy zone, then I'll close it. I may be up several $100s, and when I get up in here, I'm going to close it. And there's still another decision. Do I want to take it the other way? And for now, we're going to take them. We're going to keep taking them the other way. We're going to counter trade. We're doing this without view of any chart at all. Okay, I took the profit. I'm going to just slow it down a little bit. And let's see if we can get them all into that euphoria column. I'm not interested in buying it up here. So don't, and I know you're thinking, Don, you got the trend over here. We're not trading the trend right now, right? I see the trend, but we're countering. And let's keep our focus here. Bear with me. Let me get our tools up here. I'm doing this mechanically. Okay, we probably could have made a few shekels on that one. I just kind of caught my breath here a little bit. All right, so when we're in the middle, we do nothing. Talking about being in the middle here. We're not in here. We're not in here. We don't have any of them in here. Which interval is are they trading? You can pretty much tell. This one's at 1500, just the marker on the money. So this is 200 ticks. So the market's really pretty fast right now. So we'll just kind of glean. Last night it was the 700 tick was carrying the weight. This 5 to 700 tick in this case is transactions, 5 to several, or 100 or 200 transactions, 300. Okay, so here we go. We're going back. They want to take it back up into euphoria. Let them go. Let them go. Take it up in there. I like to see as many of these levels here get in there. And then I'm going to fade it. We'll see. Now I don't have a view. I mean, you could, right? I mean, you could have some charts if you wanted to and some other tools, but I'm not doing that. I'm doing it purely from swing and as simple as what I'm describing. We'll see how I make out. Now I'm only going to do that. Now I'm not going to do this for 8 hours. We'll do it for a couple, maybe for an hour or two, and we'll see. We'll see how we do. But you don't want to play. I don't want to play in the middle. I could get hurt. I mean, if I fade it here, then they run into euphoria, I'm going to get hurt. So I got to wait. Okay, it's trying to push up into euphoria. We just want to wait. Let's let them get in there. Let's get a few of them in there, and then we'll try to take it the other way. Now they can always go further. So there's, now a stop level. That is the part that we're working on. Um, so I can't define for you a hard stop right here. Um, and we are working on something from the radar that can give you a decent stop level would be the idea. At the moment, I hate to say it, but I have a view of my account and I want to keep, I want to, keep the account positive. And we could have probably gotten it and been okay. I didn't get it. They're not there, in a market like this, not going to be there very long. Quite frankly, they'll probably be more comfortable buying it if we can get them down in here. So once again, they're in the middle, and I didn't take anything, so we're sitting on our hands here. You don't have to be, super fast necessarily, and you don't have to be super active. You could wait, wait, pick your shots, get a few, for your trading session and call it a day. Absolutely could. We're kind of vetting some things out and want to give you a view, and so we're going to be probably a little more active than you might be, but that's, totally okay. So you can see here on Swing Machine 2 in terms of the swing. Now we're not paying attention to this for the orders, but you can see this 700 tick level, 5700, much of the night, much of the day has really been a pretty nice level. Um, these are going to be noisier. All right, let's see if we can get another trade in here. Let's watch. I'll let you know if I would do it manually. In the middle. They're in the middle a lot. I want to buy. I want to buy it. The question is, am I going to get the shot? Hmm. It was there so quickly. That's not me drinking my coffee. That's Abby. Okay, let's get it in there. Let's stay. Let's give us a shot here. Come on, get in there. Punch through. Isn't that amazing? I mean, they just. It's other machines. And the high frequency folks, they're at those extremes. Let's grab it. We want to take it long. We're just playing for a little bit of a bounce. Let's see if we can get it. Hey, Abby. You're a thirsty girl this morning. It's my Abby. Good girl, Abby. Now, you could take your money, right? It's a counter trend, right? I'm going to be just a little bit here. We're in the middle. We're fine. The concern would be that she continues to push down, right? When you're doing your counters, I mean, you're playing in the realm of, of a falling knife, or standing in the way of a speeding bullet. and you step in on the counter and she blows through you. So you want to be really, really patient to get them at the most extreme level you can, so that you don't, encounter that too much, right? But it's possible. And right now, I've got to have a mind or a mindset. I'm looking at that, that account value. I'm not looking at necessarily the individual trade, but the account value. And I don't want to, because I don't have a defined stop here for you that I can point to. Now, you may use something on a chart, but we're working on some ideas and some concepts to give our members that defined stop, and then something that they can measure. So right now I'm doing it mechanically. We'll see how I do. Abby, don't hit my arm. I think you just made me sell. No, that's okay. No, I wanted to sell. Abby's hitting my arm. I got to take her out real quick. Um, she pushed up into Euphoria ever so slightly, and it was in the area. I was long, had a couple $100. It's an excuse to take the profit. I take the profit. I didn't take it coming back the other way because I got to take the pooch out, and I'll be right back. But let me give you some numbers here. How many trades have we had today? What have we done? So let me share. I don't know. I'm going to go look, right? So I'm going to go to um, let's see here. The trade manager analysis. I'm going to generate a report, and so there it is. We have had 12 trades. 12 trades. Percent profitable, 58%. 58. Um, on the long side, 7. On the short side, 5. Percent profitable on the long side, 85%. Short side, 20. Yeah, more difficult. So, maybe you don't play on the short side. Say, hey, screw it. They want to buy, and I want to give you the profit factor is 1.82. Profit factor on the long, 7.59. Short, 0.17. So it's the shorts that I'm getting hit on. So maybe we just, which you could do, just say, what, I'm only going to buy. By the way, you could set up Swing Machine this way. You could use this tick level. You could use minutes, but I kind of like the tick at the moment. The problem with a tick would be we can't program. We can program the individual tick level, but we couldn't do multi. We'd have to change them to seconds. Okay, so we're right back in it again. Shoot, Abby, you're gonna have to wait a minute. I want to buy this. I do. Let's go get it. I'm a little late. Let's do it again to the long side. Now we're not trying to necessarily get to euphoria. That may be, a bridge too far. But even if we just get back to the middle, come on, 200 bucks. I'll be right back. Okay, so you guys are on a delay, so I can only describe and you'll see it 30 or 40 seconds later. So be careful about trying to mimic. You want to be very precise here. So once again, what are we doing here? We're counter trading. We have swing machine. We're highlighting this side of swing machine, which we haven't done that much in the past on YouTube. Um, Counter trend trading, you've got to be, very disciplined, very patient, and very experienced, really, because you're going to have a high winning percentage. It's going to feel great, and but you've always got to guard against, them punching the ball through and taking you for a ride. So right now we don't have. When I'm putting these on, I don't have a hard stop, and that we don't teach. We're working on developing a mechanical stop for this process, and bear with us if you're a member, and we'll hopefully have that for folks here soon. That has some meaning to us. But at the meantime, what I'm trying to do is we have 200 tick, 300, 500, 700, 1100, 1300. Those are all prime numbers. Give it a little extra sauce, if you will. They're not ticks alone, they're transactions, so they could be hundreds of trades. And what we want to do is when these levels, at least one or more, ideally two or three of them, if not all of them, here's one of them. What are we thinking of doing here? We're thinking of buying. Now, it's really hard to do if you've been a trend trader because, like, well, but the trend is down, Don. I know. So it is a different style of trading, and I just missed that one. So we got to wait. We got to let that come back in. Let's see if we get another shot at it. And I didn't have my, I'm doing it mechanically. So let's see if we get another shot at it. I think we're going to. Maybe. Now, when they're in between or in the middle, I don't want to do anything, right? If I'm in the trade, I want to kind of ride it, get an opportunity to, we would have made some money on that. At least had a shot at it. We're not necessarily, if you buy here, we're not necessarily trying to get to there. That would have been a nice trade, folks. And but we'd like to maybe get to the middle, and have an opportunity to make some money, and then you scalp out. That's basically what we're doing here. So let's see if we get another shot. Now I don't know, it could run up into euphoria, and I just gotta wait, and then I would want to fade. Again, we were saying earlier, if you do 10 of these in a day, make 6, 7 of them, at least 8 of them, 6 or 7 anyways, on the long side on any market. You're probably going to do better. They love to bounce them. They just love to bounce them. There's some kind of a bias in just about everything there. All right, so now we're pushing up. That's a shame because we would have had another nice one. I was a little bit slow. I was kind of coming in from Abby. So we've been trading here for about 43 minutes. When we came up, we had $1,000 from last night. We've added 777 or another 700. We got a profit factor, I think, of around 2. So now we're pushing up. Now, on the short side, because we've been struggling on the short side, I better be really, really patient and make sure that these bitches get in here. I don't want to get in there and try to fade it now because I could get really punched in the nose. So I got to really make sure that they get up there and really, really push the extremes and give me an opportunity to make some money on the way back. So I better be. That's Abby. That's not me tooting my horn. Do you hear her squeaking? Every day is Christmas for Abby. Every day. Dog loves life. Any questions on what it is we're doing? Okay, so we're coming right back. Probably once again could have, but I'm not trying to, I don't want to get sloppy. I don't want to be, flying orders in all over the place. Either going to have a discipline or I'm not. So need to wait, right? Need to wait. Abby is a mess. Absolute mess. Now, the high frequency firms, which we're not, right? We're not. We don't have the billions and the hundreds of millions, but they do. And they're sitting down here. They're sitting down here. They want to be the buyers of, not last resort, but buyers of resort. They're the ones who do the buying in there. And they're sitting in there. And they're going to be selling up in here too. They absolutely are. So let's see if we get another shot. I'd prefer to go long if I could, but I got to get at least two or three of them or more of them in here. The more the better. Well, I was a little too picky, maybe, right? we could have we could have made a couple bucks. All right, so I better keep my focus here. Let's see if we get a. I want to get a trade in with you. I can, but I need to get. I need to see it in panic. I got to see at least one or two of them. Come on, get in there. Get in there. Give me something to bounce. And that's basically what you need. You need, we need the shorts to come in there and get in there and overdo it so that we can burn them. Get their fingers a little too close to the fire. Come on, get in there. Nope. Hmm. Now you can adjust this, this tool over here. This can be adjusted. You can make this more extreme. You can define it. We would have made a couple of bucks on that too. But I waited. So I'm being picky here. Don't want to embarrass myself. But hopefully you get the idea, right? And the idea also of trading without even looking at a chart. Sometimes you get chart blindness. I love looking at Swing Machine. It's so comfortable to me. And so we parked all the other markets. You could have, multiple markets, 5 to 7 markets, set up something very similar, and you could have your gold and, your others. But we're doing the Nasdaq, as you know, mostly do here. Let's see if we can get this thing to punch in, and we'll try to. We're gonna try to buy it, but I'm not gonna buy it if it doesn't punch it. Just not. And what transaction level is leading the day right now? It's this 5 to 700, 5 to 700 ticks. So by the way, while we're doing here, if you're wondering, geez, I wonder what tick level might be the best level, I can tell you right now, 5 to 700 tick level, from what I've been watching all night and today, would be an excellent level, not only to counter trade, but also to trend trade. They've been really, really smooth. Okay, so we're getting close. Come on, punch in there. Isn't that crazy? It's, they just don't want to overdo it. And I want them to overdo it. I want them to punch it down. It would be more significant. It's more significant to me if they did it at this level. Much more transactions, and they punch it in. That would be better than this one up here. So this one up here is going to be more sensitive and going to move faster for me. But this one here is going to be slower. So I really want that one in there, and see if we can take it the other way. I'm describing it so that you know and understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, and how is it different than the trend. It's it's the opposite, and it's, you know, it can be very addictive. That's the only thing about it. And I would prefer, myself personally, and even new traders, to primarily be going after the trend, but to have the skill set to be able to counter occasionally, to get in and maybe fill up the boat, or get done what you want. We still can't get it in there. Hmm. She's melting away, but she's not. No, we didn't. It just didn't get there. We could have made a few, but again, we're not. Oops, Abby, no bark, no bark. All right, we only got the fastest one. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. I'll take it, and it's gonna be a quick one. And we just picked up 165. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're on a delay. You're on a 40-second delay. We're getting these things in 10 to 12 milliseconds. The blink of an eye is 400 to 600 milliseconds. So you're 40,000 milliseconds behind. Okay, so we're getting another one. I'm going to take it. Hard to do. Hard to do if you've been a trend trader, always, always, always. And so it is, a little, it can be a little uncomfortable, but we want to be able to do both, right? And 410. We're out. Well, that ain't fair. That ain't fair, Don. Not you guys. The retail. That ain't fair. That's cheating. Uh-huh. Okay. Let's give you our profit factor in trading stats. Let me tell you right now. So this is just for today. This doesn't count last night, but for today, profit factor at 2.15. How many trades? 15 trades. 15 trades. 66, round that out, 67% winners. 10 on the long side, 90% winners. 5 shorts. Perfect. Nice split. We're doing much better on the long side, so we'll stay with it. We'll just keep doing that. And we only had 20% winners there. When you're counter trading, when you're counter trading well, you're going to be up in the neighborhood of 70 to 80% winners. That's where it's going to be. But we're not going to have $2,000-$3,000 winners. Can't stick around for that shit. That's trend trading. So it depends upon how hard you want to work and in your mindset, right? So if you had taken, Don, you made 2 grand, but yeah, if you had taken the 500 tick level here, which is actually the 300 is actually the best performer. If you had taken that at 1018 and just stayed with the trend, yeah, you're up 4,500. But you see it oscillate and whatnot, right? That makes sense. Yeah, I kind of like doing. I haven't shown this on YouTube much, if at all. But I want to be able to give our members the opportunity, and we may. I don't know. I don't want to isolate this, but I want to try to give them a stop level, because the concern is, and you have to be practiced, and you have to understand what it is you're doing, because there could be that counter trade where you come in and you buy it and that bitch keeps moving down and you have to exit out. Where do you exit out? Well, you could have a chart, you could have a level that you could see. I'm looking at my account level so that I don't, get an outsize. I don't want to give a number per se, but I know where I'm at. And but I want to be able to give you a hard, meaningful, machined stop level, something that a person could exercise on. And if you notice in the panic level, there are numbers in here, and so we could, we could trigger it. So we're going to come in and do it again. Let me get in. Come on, Don, get on that. Let's get that trade in. We're going to buy it. I'm late. I'm late. We're buying it. Cost me 50, $100 there. What the hell? That's Ted. I don't know what he's doing. Ted, you farting over there? Wasn't me. I'm making some kind of noise. What are you doing? I think it was Abby. I think she farted. Noisy little dog. Very, very different, right? Very, very different. Here they come. There's the machine buying. And we just pocketed another 260. $2,500. What kind of crap is that? They're chasing red candle, green candle. Don't need to see any candles. candles. Oh, they're chasing moving averages and yada, yada, yada. We're traders. That's what we do. Folks, it's 11 o'clock. We've been on for an hour. I'm exhausted. You tired? It's so stressful. Kidding. Trading should be a source of enjoyment, pleasure. If it isn't, you want to stop, think about what it is you're doing, and think it through. There's a lot of different ways. And we don't discourage anyone from exploring, right? I mean, if you find another avenue, if you have another tool, if you have another approach, let us know. And and we have folks that were asking, about doing a little more counter trend trading, and and we'll try to develop a programmed approach because we like to do things robotic. It would be nice just to have the machine do it all. We can't get the machine. We can't get the machine to do it on one level. We absolutely could. We could do the trend. We could do the counter. We absolutely could. But to do multiple tick level, we can't. We would have to change them to time. I don't know how that would look. Probably close. We'd have to think that through. Maybe like 200 seconds, 300, 500 seconds, something like that. Maybe. We'll have to try it. But this is a really nice level here. I got to tell you, this 5 to 700 tick level. And here we go. And we came out of this a little bit early. We left quite a bit of money on the table. Again, now on the Euphoria side, I'm going to let that, I'm not that eager to run in there and fade it just for one or two. I'd rather see them all in there if I could. Because again, there is that bias, to buy. They want to buy shit. That's what they want to do. Even the machines. 20 trading days in a month. 24 really. Take Friday off. You're down to 20. $100 a day is 2,000. 500 is 10,000. You stop punching out 1,000, 2,000, $3,000 days. You don't have to. Maybe you don't work the whole month. Take a little bit of time. Get some projects done. Yeah, we definitely came out of this one early, didn't we? But that's okay, right? That's totally all right. Look at that. 21 200 ticks. That was at 10:58. I mean, that's less than a minute here, right? The time was 10:58, but the trade was 25 200 ticks ago. For those of you that are watching, let me explain what's happening. Swing machine. Let me highlight this. So we're doing something a little different here that we're showcasing, and we're going to try to do more showcasing of different techniques and use the different tools in different ways and in options. So this is still swing machine. This is still the trend. This is still doing her over here. This is still the trend. We set it at 200 tick, 300, 500, 700, 11, and 1300. We just happen to take the prime numbers. I don't have any statistical, data to say why, but I said, rather than just, I'll go with prime numbers. These are transactions. I can tell you from watching since last night that the 5 to 700 tick level is pretty interesting. It's getting some pretty fat trades. So this isn't 38 minutes ago. Remember, if this was a minute, it would be 38, 39 minutes ago. No, it's 40, 200 ticks ago. Groupings of 200, which is only at 10:58. It's 10. That's like 2 or 3 minutes ago. There's $1,000. And individually these can be programmed with Swing Machine. So if you're a member, an annual member, you can do that right now. You just can't do multiples with at a tick level. Then what we started last night was we wanted to showcase how you can use Swing Machine. Just one way. There are other ways how you can use it to um, counter trade. So this we highlighted. This is the buy zone. This is the sell zone. When one or more of these levels, ideally, and ideally down in here, when they get in here, what do we want to be thinking of doing? Buying. That's what we want to be thinking of doing. It's really hard to do if you're a trend trader because you see the trend that is down. And when we get up in here, what do we want to be thinking of doing? Selling. That's what we want to be thinking of doing. Now, if you do 10 of these trades in a day, 6, 7, 8 of them probably should be on the buy side and only 2 or 3 on the short side on almost any market. You'll always do better on the buy side. Statistically, it just works that way. Okay, so this could be giving us another opportunity here. Now, if you're in between the goalposts, don't do anything. So I'm not doing anything. I'm watching it. I can see it. I can see the selling pressure coming in. And I want them to get back in here to give me another shot at doing what going on. I'm not going to go after this one right now. We still got these guys up here. I'd rather have them. I'm going to be a little more choosy here. So I'd like to have them. I'd like to have them stacked up here. Remember last time they were all stacked up in here, and then we had that one go. Here we go. So let's let them come on down. And I'm thinking of buying. And if I do buy it, I may not get to here, but even if I get to here, I make it a little bit. So let's see if we can do this again. Okay, I took a shot at it, and let's see if we can get away with it. We're looking for the bounce. I'm not trying to get to here. If I can just get into here, if I can just make a little bit, 200-300. Okay, I'm going to punch out of it. I don't like the way it's reacting. She's still pressuring down. I'll just take it. Take it off. We're not going to get them all. If I'm in between, I'm not going to take any. We better be, a little more choosy. We'll maybe get one more off here. I don't want to do like 30 or 40 of these things though all day, and I don't want to do it all day long. I don't want to work that hard. I'm getting tired. Kidding, kidding. But I'm just trying to show. So, it's not. But he's really doing a nice job, up here. Look at these trades. Holy smokes, man. Um, Very tempting to go with swing here, right? But I don't, we're counter trending, and so I want to just stay. I don't want to get too, but you could begin to, you could begin to say, well, wait a minute, I get that, that shorter. You're thinking shorter time frame, longer time frame, but look at all that. And I am protecting, right? I am at this juncture. We said we would trade. We would do this for about an hour or two, or an hour 15 minutes in. I got really nice profits. I'm not really interested in, um, I don't want to give it all back. So I got a whole ground. We probably would have been okay there, but I was guarding. I was guarding, and we probably would have been all right. So, but I'm not going to play in the middle. One of the other things that you could do, to build in a little bias for yourself. If you think like, well, I don't be count like how many longs I took, how many shorts I took, or anything. What you could do is go, when you go long, go with a mini, and when you go short, go with 5 micros, something like that. So you build in a little bit of a more of a bias. Yeah, we were just probably just maybe a little. I think we were a little too early on the entry, and we would have been all right. But yeah, we would have been really good. Probably would have been at 3 grand, but that's okay. Now you can see here, even on the 200, it's very tempting to take this. It's 3,200, but that's not counter trending, right? That's going after the trend. So here they all go. Yeah, we definitely come out of that one a little too early. We took our punch, we guarded our profits, a little more patience, and we would have been sitting really, really fat. But and because this would be a fade or a short, I better make sure that they all, as many of these get in there as we can get in the middle. I'm just saying here they're coming back down again. Let's see if we can get on something here. It's going to spend the bulk of its time in the middle on you. I mean, you're not going to be in the market. That's the other thing about counter trend trading. You're not really in the market very long. Either, you're going to spend more of your time waiting for this, for the trade to set up. Then you're going to get it in and see they're going to play out, or it isn't. You're going to be out. You're not going to be in it very long. Trend trading, you're going to be in. Hopefully, you're going to be in it a lot longer. So here they come again. Let's see if they can get in there. We get another one off. It's just stuck in the middle for us. For what we're doing right now, we're just stuck in the middle, and I can't. There's nothing for me to do. I can see the trends doing their thing over there. The pressure obviously is down, still down, and I would rather be a buyer here. Yeah, so we just never get the shot here. I love seeing the price action this way because, it just kind of makes sense, right? I mean, if you got a big, big pot of money, your big, big hedge fund, you say, hey, get me in over here, get me in or get me out over there. You're playing, um, the extremes as a counter trader. And of course, they're doing it with, hundreds of millions of dollars. And, they make themselves, instead of making 2,000 bucks, they make themselves 20 million. Go buy another boat. The bastards, right? Obscene wealth. Obscene. Well, I see that it's up in Euphoria. Um, we could be aggressive here. Go ahead and take it, but I'm going to be very aggressive. We want to come back the other way. Let's see, we don't want to take a punch here, too bad. We'll just take a little scalp. A little one. 115 bucks. Right. Now, if this thing can come back into panic here before we're done and get them all in there, yeah, then I'm really going to be comfortable, getting a buy. And we obviously come out of that one a little too soon, didn't we? But that's okay. Let's see if this can get in there. I want to buy it, but I just want to buy it here. Are we going to get the shot? We're not there yet. don't want to break my rules, right? I don't want to, you know, no sense having rules if I'm going to break them. And all right, there we are. We got one of them in there. Let's go ahead and take it. Uh, I'm going to take it. It was there ever so briefly. You may not have even seen it on YouTube. It was a bit of a delay. It was there, and it's the bigger group. It's the 700 tick and the 1100 tick. So that's a big grouping. So I think that I could get a nice, a nice little pop here. See, if these get in here, if the 700, 1100, 1300, there's more of them, and there's just more of a flush out, and then I get a little, I get that nice little pop. I mean, you do this all day long. I mean, you could. Um, Beautiful, beautiful little trade, right? Beautiful, beautiful. And then you could, right? You could. I'm not. I don't want to overcomplicate this, right? We're doing something very specific. However, you could look, you've been trading, the trends for, for months and months and years, and you look over the swing machine and say, oh, look at that little bitch, that 200 tick. She's now starting to go along. Look at the 300, the 500. They're starting to rip. Maybe this little count is going to turn into a big fat trend. Maybe, right? But I better stay with my knitting, you know, because I came in and I said we're going to counter trade. We're going to make 500-600 bucks, maybe a point. So I better stay with it. But I'm just sharing some ideas and some possibilities, with some of these tools. These tools are very sophisticated and very diversified in what you can do. And as long as you know what you want to do and how you want to get there. Sound okay? All right. It's probably going to be our last trade. I'll let you watch right up until noon. Let's see if we can end on a good note here. Let's see if we can punch up here and get a point. A point to me would be $1,000 on this trade. Let's see if we can, we're probably should have grabbed it, but let's see if we can get a piece. Ted ran into a bully at the dog park. It's a new dog, younger dog. He was a bit of a bully, and Ted didn't back down, but I had to jump in, and I'm holding Ted back, and I even said to Susan, he kind of looked at me like, "Hey, thanks, Dad. I really didn't want to tangle with this guy." I was like, "Okay." So he was sounding tougher than he was, and I think he was reassured that I had a grip on his mange, and I had to put my hand in there, which I didn't really want to do. The other dog I thought was the aggressor, and that's the first time. We haven't had that happen. I don't know if we've ever had it happen. It happens at a dog park, but he no one got injured, no one got hurt. I didn't get bit. It was a new dog. I didn't. The dog was getting along with other dogs that I knew, and I thought I dropped my guard. I thought everything was going to be okay, and kind of went south pretty fast. All right, so what do you want to do? We're pushing into euphoria. You see it? At minimum, we what are we going to be thinking about doing? We got to be thinking about taking our profit, kids, right? So we'll give it just a few extra ticks here. See if we can get that point, and then we got to get out of here. There it is. $1,000. How much fun was that? 3,083. Are you kidding me, Bagger? No, I'm not. Um, let's go to the trade manager analysis. And I didn't look at a chart. I could have. My eyes were glued. Okay. Profit factor 2.28. We made $2.28. We had 19 trades. That's a lot of trades for Bagger. Trend trading, you're not going to make that many trades. It's going to be a couple, two or three. But counter trending, we had 19 of those buggers. 13 long, 6 short. Twice as many longs. Good. Percent profitable overall. Rounded off, 68.42. That's normal. About 70%. That's where you need and want to be. On the long side, 84% profitable. On the short side, look at them bring it back to Jesus, right? 33%. Let's see. The average winning trade was 422. The average losing trade 401, right? And that is a beautiful thing. Let's see what else I can tell you. Yeah, that's counter trend trading, folks. You just don't want to do it all day, every day. And in a fast market, it can be a lot more fun. You're going to get a lot more opportunity. In a slow market, you're not going to get much, right? But, check these guys out, right? This is from 1023, the 1100 tick, right? So the trends, it would have been a lot, you would have just had one trade. So from 1030, I had 19 trades, worked my little ass off for $3,000. The trend on this level, you had one trade and you got $4,000. So what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? The problem is, it's not a problem though, as long as you're aware of it. It is a problem if you're not aware of it. Is when you come in and you sit your little fanny down and you are thinking, I want to get on the trend, and then you take the trend off, and basically you're taking profit sizes the size of counter trending. Now you're not getting the big fat tuners, the big fat trends, and you're getting, you're chopping them off, and you're hurting yourself. So you got to decide. I still think you're going to do. I think you're going to make more money. I think you're going to have more fun. I think you're going to work less if you go after trends. However, if you feel the need, you speak fast, talk fast, you play golf fast, you walk fast, you do things fast, and you want to just get in and execute some trades, well then, you can do it on the counter trend. And you can probably use some other tools, right? We'll work to develop, something here for a stop level maybe, but we got ideas. I can't promise a date, but you could also, experiment if you have these tools on your desktop. If you don't have the tools on the desktop, you might want to check out stockmarketcaddy.com. Look around and feel free to give us a shout and see if you want to join our little club. It's a private club. Enjoy, everybody. Thanks. We're going to let you watch. At noon, we'll need to turn down, and I'll answer any questions in between. So again, when we're done, we're not going to do any more counter trades unless I see something absolutely dreamy here, and I don't. So we're in the middle, right, a little bit north of the mean, and I'm not going to do anything. And I'd prefer to be a buyer, so can't be a buyer up here, and I'm not going to rush just to fade it, right? I'm not going to do that. But you can see it. You can actually even see the trend starting to move up too, right? So it looks like they want to, bring this up. You could potentially, do something. Tomorrow is Friday. Hey, you can maybe do something with an option, a zero DTE potentially too. But we had a nice. I hope you enjoyed the view. I hope you enjoyed seeing something a little different than just going after the trend. I say just going after. I mean it's a beautiful way to go. Um, but counter trending is definitely fun. I really had to work to break myself of it because that's all I did, right? I mean, I was counter trending all the time, and it's just it's a lot more work. And it is. I do want you to know it is addicting. So be aware of that, right? It's like ice cream. and and so you've got to know, like, okay, enough's enough. You know, we made our 3 grand. Don't don't stick around for 4 or 5 more hours. You can only play so much golf. You can only eat so much ice cream. Um, just be happy. You made your bread. Tomorrow's another day. Do you want to come back and do some kind of trading and you got a nice market for it? Okay. Make your bread, shut it down. Just do it over time. Lose the weight over time. Gain the weight over time. Whatever you want to do, right? But check this out, right? This is 40, not 40 minutes, right? It's 4,200 ticks, 40 of them. What time was that? 11:28. What time is it now? It is 11:34 down here. The new damn Microsoft 11 there. They don't give us the clock anymore. I mean, give me the clock, Microsoft. What a bunch of dorks. I swear to God. I mean, that company. I, I mean, they just do some things that aren't very good. I mean, look how small that clock is. And I used to be able to open this and have a big clock, and I've tried to do an AI search, and apparently they don't have it anymore. I mean, for the love of Pete. But that's only minutes, right? It's only minutes, $600, $700 there. So you can certainly, and at a certain level, a tick count, might make a little more sense. I get it versus a time because it's a transaction. But it could be like 10, it could be 100 contracts, could be 50 contracts. So there's 200 ticks, 200 transactions, 500 transactions, 1100. And we chose to use some prime. All right, so here we go again, right? So this is maybe, I'd like to see them all get in here. Come on, get all in there again. The bigger transactions, they're not on board here, but we get them all back in. I may have to come back and take another little bite. Just a little one. We'll see. Let's see. I said I'd be with you up until noon. I hate to finish with a bogey, but might get another shot here. There it is, one of them. I'm going to exercise some discipline and say no. Enough's enough. But it is getting very, very tempting. So we are currently at 25,200. Don't you guys take it, right? But let's see how this plays out. We're at 25,000, basically 25,200. Um, let's see what we might have been able to do. I mean, if you establish your rules, right? The machine has its rules, the machine has its order. It's going to do what it does. But you also have to have a discipline of when you're trading, what your approach is going to be. That's very individual, and you either do it or you don't. And if you don't, then it's really hard to hone something, you know. So we're still at 25,000, still under, 200. We're basically even where we were. Potentially could have made a couple of points if you were that aggressive, but okay. So we're 15 to 20. We're 20 ticks, underneath that entry. So we'd be taking some heat here, and so just to keep things interesting, what I'm going to do is I will do it with a micro. Okay, so let me see if I can get it on here. MNQZ25. Doing it just for you guys. Um, let's see here. They are really pushing it down. We're going to do it with a micro. We're going to buy it. Let's see if we can get that other one in there. What happened there? What happened? You little stinker, Don. What in the world? That is. What in the world? What? What happened there, Donnie? Oh, you little stinker. No. Oh, God. That was was the wrong contract, kids. What a what a boneheaded move that was. Wow. Well, you know what I did? Wow. What a mistake. What a mistake. You know what? Good that you see it. I put in MNQ Z26, not 25. Illiquid. And they just scalped the crap out of me. That stings. Brutal. That 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 is stupid. So I'm glad you saw it. Glad you saw it. Wow. You talk about making the last ski run, right? And here I was with a mini, not excuse me, a micro. They're illiquid. They're illiquid. I'm embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassing. But that'll be one. That's what I did. MNQZ 26. That's trading next December, not now. Oh my God. Ay vey. God. Unbelievable, Donnie. Took my breath away. I said, like, why did we, when you trade something in liquid, you know? All right, kids. I've seen and experienced enough. We'll be back. We'll wrap it up another day. I wish you the best. Don't learn a good thing from that. And hate to finish on a I feel like a triple bogey. Um, it happens. Error. Mental unforced error. What a shame. I wish everyone the best. We got to run. Thanks.